during qualifying or during practice was watching the top two now on the leaderboard, Trenton Kramer and Jason Green fighting side by side, and I noticed that they were really having problems getting a move completed and spent an entire lap side by side. So we should see a lot of action on track today, waiting to see that leaderboard come up now. They have a little bit of time left in this session, still waiting for the official results to roll in, but we're going to take a look at the point standing. Marco Pinero leading the way here with a sizable lead over Jason Green. I have not seen Marco Pinero on the track, so Jason Green going to be able to close up that gap some, but I think it's not going to be enough time left for him to get the win away from Marco. Bobby West going to round out the top three there in Spec 1. Then we'll jump over to Spec 2. Joshua Wilkie there, SMB's own Josh Wilkie, the sandbagger extraordinaire, leading the way in Spec 2 over Paulo Bream and Paul Jackson rounding out that top three. Joshua Wilkie not going to have that green badge for much longer, probably his last race in Spec 2. Expect to see him in a Spec 1 car next season. And then finally, we'll take a look at that Masters division. They're old, they're not slow. Right now, Tom Gradwell leads that championship with a much narrower margin over Adam Bradshaw. And then Brad Cathcart knocking on the door there in third place. Antonio Reese quite a ways back, so not going to be able to finish on the podium this season. But all to play for here at the top of the leaderboard in the Masters division.
On the go, as I just realized I had my own mic muted. It's great having all of these nice new toys, but certainly I need to get a bit more familiar with them. And my apologies there for starting the stream a little bit late. I'd hit one of the buttons, but I hadn't quite hit the second. But I gotta say, it is definitely an interesting turn of events today, and that's not to knock this guy. That's Trenton Kramer, ladies and gentlemen. He's currently up at the top of the leaderboard, as Brandon was saying. And I've got to say, I'm mightily impressed to see him there showing incredible pace here at Oran Park.
Currently with a 1/10 lead over Jason Green, and Antonio Reese there, just not too much further back, has a pretty quick lap time as well, as going to be leading your Masters division. We're going to try to find a car here to go with for an onboard lap with. It's pretty quick lap around here. We see the lap times just over a minute 12 there at the sharp end of the leaderboard, but it comes at you very thick and very fast, and the figure of eight layout of this track can make it very, very tricky indeed. We join with Jason Green coming out of the last corner down at the front straightaway, gonna hang over the right hand side of the track to open up that entry to turn one. He's gonna keep his foot on the throttle all the way until the apex of turn one, and then break in a straight line to the right hand side of the track to open up the entry for turn two. A nice tight line through turn two. Use all that exit curving, then bring the car back across the track for shell corner, turn three, a tight right-hander. We might see some moves there in the race. Then a slight uphill run to champion curve, turn four, which is going to send them to the right and up to the bridge, across the Yokohama Bridge. That little kink back there was turn five. This is turn six as they crest the hill, and then they're going to drop down for turn seven, Foster's Dip. A very tricky section where the car is very unstable through that quick right, left, then turn 9, Momo corner. A very quick left-hander. They have to downshift one gear to get through there. And then the blind section of 10 and 11. If you get 11 wrong, you can get a slowdown or an off track. And then the most important corner of the lap, turn 12. You need to get much closer to the apex there than Jason got to get a good time. But you're going to carry the speed all the way down to turn one, and we see him dip into that pit lane there at the end of the lap. That's a very, very tight and tricky pit entry, especially in traffic. So keep your eyes during the pit cycle. There could be something that goes wrong there that causes a blockage of that pit lane, and we'll see cars backing up, waiting for somebody to tow in order to get in to get service.
Yeah, that pit lane is incredibly tight. And this is going to be a gentleman who Jason Green's going to have a key eye on. It's Bobby West. These guys fighting it out in the championship, as we were saying earlier. And also, again, thank you to the people who let me know that I hadn't hit the button. I do generally appreciate that. Certainly, again, having all these new toys is great. But, adds another set of challenges. But let's focus very quickly on a couple of new drivers we have here today. And this is one of them. This is Mateus Marcamini. And it's great to see more people here joining the weekend Warriors. Got to say, quite a tasteful paint job as well. He's going to be running in the S1 category. There is also this driver here, Morgan Smith. Now, You can see here he's running the Susan Komen SMB charity fundraiser in association with the Weekend Warriors as well. This is a gentleman who actually he followed me here, kind of deal. That's back when I was commentating Bitrow Productions and Apex this, and I actually got a message going, "Where are you?" So I managed to drag him along today to take part in the Spec Racer Forza.
Always glad to see some new names, even in here for the last race of the season. Guys that might be looking to make their mark in this league and get set up for a good run next season, trying to find their spot within the ladder of Weekend Warriors. A great league and organization to be associated with. So glad to see some newcomers, and hopefully we'll see some of their racing chops here today. Oran Park, man, this place is really tricky. Doesn't exist in real life anymore, as we see somebody here going for a bit of a ride.
Hayden Bramley.
Hayden Bramley, yes, not Braden Hamley, as I'm keen to say sometimes. Hayden Bramley getting it wrong there. He does not have a lap time set yet, so probably coming out on cold tires, trying to get to grips with the grip level on this track. That turn one and turn two entire complex is going to see a lot of fireworks. Now, Oran Park, as I was saying, doesn't exist in real life anymore. It's probably some shopping mall and parking lot complex now. So it lives on here, forever memorialized in iRacing, and it's a great track for cars of this caliber.
Oh, absolutely, and it's a bit disappointing when you hear about racetracks getting shut down and being turned into like malls and housing developments. And I'm going to sound like any typical person with an interest in cars, but if you go and move in a house that is next to a racetrack and then complain about the noise, I'm sorry, but I do not want to know you. Read the room is the best way I can put that. That's kind of like asking me to be, civilized, polite, and many multiple things. I can do it to a certain point, but it does take a little bit of effort. And certainly, speaking of a little bit of effort, let's have a quick look here at what Josh Wilkie is up to. Currently, I've got to be honest, he's a little bit further down the order than I would expect. He's currently rocking P16 and the leader of the S2 category right now. So it appears that the Masters really showing some dominance here at Oran Park.
This is one of those tracks that seems to be separating the classes. We see a little less blending between Spec 1 and Spec 2 than we normally see here at Oran Park. Some of these really technical courses will separate the specs out like that. You'll really notice the difference in skill levels, kind of rear its head and be on display on the leaderboard. But look at that lap time from Aleix Pleva, 5/1000ths of a second slower than Trenton Kramer. So right now, Trenton with a very, very marginal lead over Aleix Pleva for that pole position. Aleix is always up there threatening to win these races. So we'll see if he's able to keep the nose clean today and challenge Trenton for that win. Right now, Trenton Kramer leading the way with a 1:12.490. It's a pretty quick lap time around here.
Definitely a very, very challenging circuit as well. Jan letting me know that I'm I'm quiet compared to Ron. Now, Randall, do you want to tell him? We're joined here today,
Dave's not here.
Yeah, Ron was on the last one, Jan, but we'll let you off on that. Admittedly, I have written Ron's name accidentally in the box, so definitely poor old Randall's getting a little bit of a hard time. But let's check in as well, see how Jörg Manny's doing. Now, he had an absolutely smashing race last time round in the F1600s, taking a absolutely fantastic result, winning the Masters there at Tsukuba. And sorry, Jan. But definitely a lot of fun there. As you can see, they're taking a move up on the inside. But qualifying is indeed coming to an end. You're going to be able to set another time there and see if you can topple Antonio off of that top spot.
Does not appear to improve, but still he's not very much slower than the pole time and even less slower than Antonio Reese. So he's in there in a good position. Going to be starting sixth right now. Still waiting for some lap times to come in to see if anybody else is able to improve. But sixth is not a terrible starting spot here. It's far enough ahead to keep you out of the mid-pack melee, and there will certainly be a mid-pack melee. And we see Jörg Manny going for what we often see in this league, the jump after he completes his qualifying session. And he's not alone. There's another car there somersaulting its way across the track there. Then that's that section of track, that's just before turn 3. So after you come out of turn 2, if you look to the left, there's a big berm there that'll send you across the track over around the turn 7 area. So I'm sure we'll see many, many cars line up for that after the race in true Weekend Warriors fashion.
Oh, without a doubt. Certainly Jason Green, despite being a very talented driver, he certainly has incredible talent for finding where the opportune moments are for some Weekend Warriors acrobatics. But we're hoping we're going to get a grid for you in just a moment. Let's have a quick peek. Nope, not quite come through yet. A couple of people still on track. I believe Antonio Reese is still out on the move. We're going to see if that's just going to come through. I'm thinking he's still, yep, Antonio Reese still out on track, so certainly being able to maybe squeeze in a last-minute time. Oh, no, we're going to be going up and over.
Getting one more practice of the jump. And while we have a moment here, I would like to point out Weekend Warriors Spec Racer 4 League is racing to raise awareness for the ALS Foundation in remembrance of Russell Telker's father, Jeff Telker. So it's the giving season, and if you have a few extra dollars to spare, consider the ALS Foundation. We're going to get to that grid. Trenton Kramer with that 112.490 holds out to keep a pole. Starting alongside him, Aleix Pleva. In P3, Jason Green, and next to him on your Masters pole, Antonio Reese. P5 is going to see Bobby West with Jurg Manny. Starting in P6, Simon Mayer starting P7 with Evandro Dantas. Expect to see some moves out of him in P8. Sula Stewie is in P9 with Chris Murakami starting in P10. 11th is going to see the likes of Adam Bradshaw starting next to Jason Perry.
And as we have a look at pick a syllable there. As we have a look at 13th, Chen Zong takes that spot alongside Brad Cathcart. Daniel Wood in 15th, with Joshua Wilkie being the first of the S2 drivers back there in 16th. Flavio Andalo, I believe, did he actually qualify today? He's out in second. That's surprising. He's normally I'll try and do a last to first kind of guy, so I wouldn't ever expect him to qualify. He's there in 17th, though, with Michael Nelson in 18th, as Joseph Tarantino takes 19th. Kevin Adrian, hoping he has a better race this time around, he's there in 20th, with Andrew Love. That is your S2, one of the championship. I believe he won the no. Wilkie won the S2. He won the S2 race in just the Formula 1600 a moment ago. He's there in 21st, with Milo Green in 22nd, Paulo Breme in 23rd, and Sergio Durelli, the Argentinian driver, in 24th.
25th sees the googly-eyed Cookie Monster machine of Phil Berry starting next to, sorry, this is a new name, is cut off on my screen. Where is it? Matias Marcomini is in 26th. Out of Argentina, 27th place is going to see Paul Jackson. And next to him, league administrator Stevie Ray. 29th, Edgar Sanchinelli. And then in 30th, Jan Cheek. We expect to see him making some moves. We never see him lack for aggression. Then in 31st, Mike Knudsen. 32nd, going to be Morgan Smith, another new name for this series. Jason Greider in 33rd. Hayden Bramley not able to get a good lap time in there at the end of the session. Going to start all the way back in 34th. 35th, Michelle Viglini with Andrea Favini. That's the name you were looking for earlier. Yeah. Starting in 36th.
Let's ditch the grid for a minute there, Randall, because it is getting hot, ladies and gentlemen, as they're going across the line. And there you go, green grid. Oh, no, that's Reese. Oh, Reese, my gosh.
Looks like maybe some wheel spin or an accidental downshift there causes this car to spin, and it's going to be out of this race before they even get to the first corner. They're going to go almost 3 wide into turn 1. Everything gets woed up, and who is that on the inside? Adam Bradshaw challenging for the lead, going through turn 2, not going to get the move done, and it looks like Kramer is going to lead the way to turn 3. Jason Green dealing with a little bit of traffic, a little bit of a nudge there from Pleva as they go through turn 3 and make their way up to turn 4. Still too wide back there with Jason Green and Bobby West trying to get this sorted out. Looks like Green's going to have the inside line after they come across the bridge and get that all settled out, but that's allowed the front 2 to break away here early doors. And now Jason Green needs to get on the button and close that gap up.
Well, that was definitely a very, very interesting race start. I'm going to see if I can get a quick replay of that. It was certainly, it was colourful to say the least. Let's have a quick look here. All right, so this is back with Brad Cathcart. Let's see exactly what happened here. Oh, that's Antonio Reese. There's Cathcart. That looks like Jan Cheek there, who just got minced off Cathcart. And it's Antonio Reese on the left. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it looks like that maybe once Antonio Reese had his spin, everybody went into evasion mode, and all awareness kind of went out the window as everybody tried to make moves to get around that wreck, and then Brad Cathcart got collected and then collected some more and then collected once again as the field went by. We're going to get an onboard look here of Antonio Reese to see exactly what happened. We see him starting there in second gear, so we're going to watch that. Maybe he downshifted on accident. No, he just made a sharp move to the inside, thought he had a good jump, and there was another car there. Contact sends him around, and then he gets collected here by Brad Cathcart very shortly, and chaos ensues.
Well, it's definitely not the race start he was looking for. We're going to try and get it back to live here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to try to anyway. There we go. And let's see exactly what's happening. Apparently, Brad Cathcart is in the lead right now. I'm finding that hard to believe.
That would just be a timing error. It looks like we're still on replay. Brad Cathcart out there with heavy damage, continuing to lap around. We try to get back to live pictures. Trenton Kramer currently still leading the way over Adam Bradshaw. Jason Green is in third. Bobby West in fourth. Bobby West is in fifth.
Brad Cathcart is in the lead.
Yeah, this is definitely a scoring glitch of some sort.
That
Brad Cathcart
right.
could not possibly be in the lead here. So we have a scoring glitch. So Trenton Kramer, your race leader, Adam Bradshaw second, Jason Green in third, Bobby West in fourth, Aleix Pleva rounding out your top five. And right now, Trenton Kramer feeling the pressure from Bradshaw. So Bradshaw trying to get a move done there on the inside of turn 3, not able to get it going, but maybe just keeping the pressure applied to see if Trenton Kramer can hang with it. Jason Green's managed to close that gap up, so the breakaway has vanished, and we have a nice long train of cars here at the front of the pack leading this race. So any little mistake could be a huge loss for somebody. So they really need to keep it buttoned up. We're going to jump on board here with Bobby West to see all the stuff's going on around him as he comes now approaching the final corner of this lap and try to get a good run. You really need to get a good run out of this corner because that speed will pay off the entire way down to the apex of turn 1. And there we go. The scoring has corrected itself. Brad Cathcart now shuffled to the bottom of the leaderboard. Trenton Kramer shown in properly as P1.
Yeah, I was trying everything I could there, Randall, to try and resolve it. I'm not exactly sure. I think it might have been on the iRacing end, but it's fair to say it is sorted now, and I'd like to take credit for that, but it certainly was not off my excellence. As we see, it looks like Daniel Wood's going side by side there with, I believe that's Sul Ashutwi. Rocking the elf paint job with that.
Absolutely, and then that 28 car kind of fight back here. Not going to be able to get it done as they go up the run up to the bridge. But we see a lot of shuffling on in the pack. I see Stevie Ray has taken a tow, and Michelle Viglini's been in the pit for a while. So something going on there with those two drivers. Michelle Viglini looks to be rejoining, but Stevie Ray looks like probably had an issue as they come. Yeah, we're taking a replay now. Zippy, tell us what happened.
Well, you can see there, Stevie's there on the outside. He's there breaking down into turn 1. Everything's looking pretty good. And then, oh, no. Brakes to try and not hit the car in front. And then, just ends up getting a little bit of a nudge from behind. And definitely not the result he was looking for. Let's see if we can go back to live now. I guess not. All right. It's going to be one of those days, ladies and gentlemen.
Some technical issues with the overlay system and trying to rejoin live pictures at the moment. But it looked like Stevie Ray maybe experienced a bit of netcode there. With the rate of closing on the car ahead of him, possibly induced a little bit of netcode that helped him get sideways. Fight for second place right now. Bradshaw trying to fend off. Oh, you're absolutely right. I stand corrected. That is the lead. Trenton Kramer has dropped back to 4, so maybe I would like to see a replay of how that happened, but with the way that the system's been working, I don't know if we need to risk it or not. But Bradshaw does have the lead and is feeling the pressure from Jason Green, so Jason definitely got his elbows out trying to get a sniff of this lead. He was very quick in practice, very quick in qualifying, and he seemed to be very, very consistent in his lap times as the tire wear kicked in. So expect to see Jason Green up here at the front for most of this race. Pit strategy could be a huge deciding factor, but we'll see how it all works out. On track right now, it looks like Jason Green's got a nice run, but is he going to be there in time? He might be. He's closing in, but it looks like he's going to decide to be a little bit prudent here and not go for the move immediately.
Well, he's going to be very aware of that gentleman behind him, and that's Bobby West. These guys are fine out in the championship. You can see Trenton Kramer sat there in P4. Not really a championship contender, I believe, this season. Certainly having real-life race car commitments. He does work on a lot of minis, in fact, a whole fleet. So, yeah, definitely some interesting things going on there.
So we'll see how this battle for the lead plays out, and see if Trenton Kramer can make his way around Bobby West and try to rejoin this battle for the lead. I suspect that he got overtaken in the turn 3, and then it was just a freight train after that, because once you give up one spot when they're bunched up like this, it's hard to get back in the line. A lot like short track oval racing, once you give up one spot, you tend to give up a handful of them, and he's still in a good position here to strike, especially if he plays the pit strategy right. There is a little bit of opportunity for fuel saving around a track like this, so we'll see if anybody's able to employ that sort of strategy. And Leish Plava there hanging on in 5th, not seeing him be super aggressive yet, but he's always quick in the Spec Racer Ford.
Well, I think I've just seen Trenton Kramer actually doing a little bit of bump drafting just then. It's fair to say that he wants to try and separate the pack a little bit. As Les Plava's looking to make a move on the inside, you see Trenton Kramer, he's had to sacrifice the line. Is he going to be able to get it done? Not quite. Manages to hold off Plava for right now. And you can see here the pack is indeed spreading out. Simon Mayer looks like he's going to get in the action. Jörg Manny right behind, leading a second pack. So certainly a lot going on here. We have a look here. Jörg Manny, I got to say, Bradshaw absolutely cleaning up here at Oran Park right now, leading the Masters and the race overall.
We get excited anytime we see the Spec 2 drivers challenging for the lead, but it's equally exciting whenever we see one of these Masters Division drivers challenging for the lead, as we take a look at Chang Zhong and involved in a very, very heated battle right now.
Contact.
With a little bit of contact there. Oh, more contact, and there goes Marco. Marco with heavy contact, or sorry, not Marco, Matthias with some heavy contact there. That's going to be the end of his day, and that went from bad to worse as he was involved in that battle, and a big hip check there sends him straight into that barrier.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of contact there. Now, I do wonder, is Trenton going to be there? Oh, yeah, he is definitely trying to give a little bit of a nurse along to Bobby West. And, you know, it's definitely a risky strategy. As you see, Les Plava looking to make a move on the inside yet again. Is he going to get it done? I believe he's just managed to lead it by a nose, but Kramer's going to have the better exit. Not quite side by side at this point. Les Plava takes over 4th place, but for how long? Kramer is going to be keen to get that back. As you see, Jason Green looking to try and make a move there on Adam Bradshaw. Bobby West right up behind him as well. It looked like Green trying to make a move. It opened the door for Bobby West. Could we see a fight for the lead here? Can Bobby West do buy one, get one free?
This is a very interesting maneuver out of Jason Green to try to go around the outside there at turn 3. We did see Leish Plava get that move done on the inside at turn 2. When I was watching in practice, a lot of times that inside line on turn 2 would get so bound up that on the exit that the car on the outside would be able to rally back to turn 3. It didn't look like Kramer was able to get back to the throttle like that. Maybe wasn't quite expecting that move and caught a little bit off guard, which allowed Plava to keep that spot on the run up to turn 3. But right now, Plava's sitting there in 4th, looking a little punchy. Maybe he's going to start looking to the inside, showing the nose there on Bobby West. So he's kind of telling Bobby, man, get a move on or get out of the way. As we see Jason Green pop to the inside, and West is going to go with him. So going to have a battle here in a turn 2 for the lead. Some lockup out of Bradshaw is going to send him very wide, and that's going to give the lead to Jason Green. Jason Green going to inherit the lead. Right now, Bradshaw dropped down to 8th and possibly 9th by the time this all plays out, and the battle up front is going hot and heavy. Leish Plava has made his way up to P2, but Bobby West is fighting back along the inside and going to regain that second position. As Leish Plava is trying to be opportunistic here. You can't blame him at all. It's very hard to pass around here.
Oh, definitely. And I don't know if I was you, but certainly if I was Jason Green in this scenario, I'd definitely be better looking, that's for sure. But that's not, I don't know if that's complimenting Jason Green or tearing one out of myself. But if I was Jason Green right now, I would be wanting Bobby West to be under as much attack from Les Plava as possible. Certainly, you know, it's one of those things where I just figured that out, Randall. It's one of those things where, you know, the more that Les Plava gets into the action, the better odds Jason Green has got of managing to pull away from the field. But right now, the very opposite is happening. Bobby West is doing everything he can, and it looks like he's going to try and make a move. Jason Green with the defense. He's not usually a guy who go and cover a line so much, and I believe it's paid off for him. Not quite. Bobby West there on the outside, and I believe Trenton Kramer is going to try and capitalize on that. He goes a little bit wide, almost spins the car, and now side by side yet again with a less flavor.
And ahead of them, they're side by side as well. Like I was talking about, Bobby West had the outside line, was able to pinch down on Jason Green, who took that defensive inside line. Green got very bound up trying to get to the throttle, and that gave Bobby West a better run on the outside, which set him up for the inside at turn 3. New leader, Bobby West.
What an absolutely fantastic race so far. I do want to try and get away from the lead pack a little bit, and we're going to do it very briefly, but let's check in with this gentleman here. That's Kevin Adrian. Now, I had a look a minute ago. He was much closer, so all right, maybe not. Let's try further up the field. Mike Knudsen, he's currently under attack from Michael Nelson. I've got to say, that almost sounds like, you know, you got one from Denmark, one from the USA. You just have the different variety at that point. But Nelson applying a lot of pressure there. Actually, one of the Masters driver as well. And he's currently chasing down Mike Knudsen. That gap about 0.2 of a second in it. You can see there, definitely applying the pressure. And I've got to say, I love the absolutely, I'm going to say almost Hawaiian themed paint job on the car, the number 59, 959.
As we complete the mic check right now, Mike Knudsen leading this pair. We do have some mic on mic action here on track. Normally in leagues like this, we get a lot of Daves and Davids, but here we see two mics giving it their all. Bobby West is still in the lead of this race, feeling the pressure from Jason Green, but they're closing in on some lap traffic in the form of Brad Cathcart. Lap traffic on a track like this could have massive implications, and I think I would want to be in first place here. Normally, leaders are more lucky when it comes to traffic, in my experience. We'll see if that works out for Bobby West or not. But as Brad Cathcart gets his way shuffled back through this lead pack, if he doesn't play it smart, he can find himself being involved in all of the wrong ways and some of these battles for position at the top end of the leaderboard.
Well, Cathcart's definitely not had the race he was looking for today, but I will say this, he is making an absolutely fantastic camera car. If we hide the standings for just a second, I'm going to try to here. Have a look at that, ladies and gentlemen. That's the view he's got. And yeah, he's just gone and ducked into the pits. He's done everything he can to get out of the way of the lead pack. I've got to say, fantastic sportsmanship. I don't think for any second there that was a tactical decision. I think he literally just sent it down pit lane to try and get out of the way of these guys. And I've got to say, thank you very much for doing that, Brad. Certainly a very sportsmanlike thing to do. As we see here, Trenton Kramer, he's dropped back to 5th now. Simon May has been able to sneak his way by. So while starting on pole, he's currently down for positions. But actually, let's speak of positions, and you know exactly who we're going to switch to here, Randall. It's Andrea Favini. Absolutely sending it up 22 spots right now. That is incredible. A man after my own heart.
22 spots gained. You know, he does this week in and week out. If you were going to form an endurance racing team, this would be one of the names on my short list. Andrea Favini, going to be a master in traffic, and that's exactly what you need in an endurance race. We've seen him drive. I think he's even gotten podiums after starting at the back of these packs. And so not only is he fast, but he's able to keep the car clean as he makes all of these overtakes. So a real killer instinct in a driver is something you would absolutely love to see on your team. As we jump on board with Chris Murakami as they come through turns 10 and 11. Going to try to get a move set up here in the last corner on Phil Berry. And it looks like he's going to have a decent run. He's definitely close enough to have a lot of the slipstream. So we'll see if he shows the nose as he comes down the start-finish straight. Right now, Phil Berry saying, me want to keep position in that Cookie Monster machine, but not going defensive quite yet.
Well, you say that now, it looks like, yeah, Murakami with the huge overspeed. I think Phil Berry backed out of that, but I will say this, there is a bit of damage on the right front corner. You can see it there on your screen. There's the right front, ladies and gentlemen. There's the left front, so kind of like a before and an after at that effect. So certainly a little bit of contact at some point for the 901 machine, the Mura Team Racing car. But let's have a look further up the field. I believe Wilkie's involved in a battle as well. He's got Sergio Dorelli behind him, and he is caught up to the lead pack. Adam Bradshaw, you can see there, he's back there in P3. So let's be real a minute. So Bradshaw started in 11th place and was leading the race earlier. What an absolutely fantastic start. While he may be back in 8th now, I've got to say, that's some serious movement at the race start to get such an accomplishment done.
Absolutely, and he's still in contact with the leader, so we can see some pit strategy play out. He might be able to get a couple spots back and be there at the end of the race. but Josh Wilkie up 6 spots from where he started. The car behind him up 13 spots. So Sergio Dorelli having an amazing race. We're going to see Josh Wilkie, I think maybe serving a slowdown, probably cut through turn 11 a little too much. Had to serve a slowdown, getting out of the way of Sergio Dorelli. That's going to give a free spot to Dorelli. Mark him up 14 spots now, and he's going to try to track down Flavio Andallo. Some of these drivers up here in the top 10 have made up quite a lot of spots on the opening stages of this race. So we're seeing some drivers benefit from some incidents early on, and some drivers just making their way around slower traffic. So some really good work going on here. Jörg Manny currently leading the Masters division in P7. He's got Adam Bradshaw, who was leading the way for the longest time, right there on his rear bumper. So by no way, shape, or form is that battle over with yet. Jason Green is now leading over Bobby West. So we didn't see when that move exactly happened, but Jason Green over Bobby West. We'll see if he's able to retain this position. 17 minutes in, we haven't seen a lot of cars come into the pit lane yet for regular service. I think only one, Edgar Santinelli so far, and possibly Daniel Wood, both coming in for service. That pit window is definitely open, so we'll see a few more cars start to come in here anytime soon, but normally the 25-minute mark is when we start to see the most traffic on pit lane.
Well, I gotta say this, and I'm sure you can guess who has said this, but it's in the chat. If Phil Berry runs over some debris, we can say the Cookie Monster is picking up some crumbs. Now, Randall, in your expert opinion, who do you think would come out with a line like that?
Oh, that's a tough call. Tamara?
No,
possibly?
No, think closer. Think SMB.
Oof. Ron? Is it Ron?
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like a Ron joke. That's a Ronism.
That's definitely Ron coming out with that. 100%. That is Mr. Ron Mons. And don't get me wrong, if it had a cat or an anvil involved, it would have been a bit more of a giveaway.
It would have been a giveaway, yes.
Yeah. Yet we can say in complete confidence, other than the race start, there has been no massive falling anvils. We're going to take a quick look back here with Mike Knudsen, though, because these guys are still going at it. Mike Knudsen versus Michael Nelson. Currently, Nelson has been able to sneak his way by. So, but certainly that's not the end of the battle. We know that the draft is a big deal in these cars, and these guys are going hard at it despite that.
Mike check 1, 2. 1 is currently Michael Nelson. 2 is Mike Knudsen. They were in the reverse order a few laps ago. So Nelson has made his way around Knudsen, and we'll see. He's pulled a little bit of a gap here. We'll see if he's able to continue to open this gap and ruin this battle and ruin my puns. As Aleix Pleva is making a move for P2 on the inside of Bobby West there on P2. But you see Bobby West is going to get an outstanding run on the outside there. Easily going to be able to clear it, except Aleix Pleva much braver on the brakes, sticking it on the outside. He's going to retain the car alongside. Now it's a very tight right-hander up here at the top of the hill. Probably, yes, going to clear. Well. And then Kramer having a look on the inside there, trying to be opportunistic. Like I said before, very tricky to pass here. So you got to go for any opportunity that presents itself. Kramer trying to take one of those opportunities. Pleva closing the door.
Well, he was certainly an opportunist in that scenario, and that is exactly what Jason Green needs to keep happening, because he's opened up that gap to almost a second at this point. And don't get me wrong, if he can break the toe, this is going to be the best news he can have. Lap traffic, something to keep in mind as well. He is starting to approach on to the back of the number 29, the 257 of Edgar Santinelli. So, different variables involved. And you can see there, Jason Green trying to break the toe. He is fighting very, very hard today here at Oran Park.
Edgar Santinelli is one of the few that have come in for pit service so far, so he's not exactly slow. He's not effectively a full lap down, but he is technically going to be a lap down. As we see Bobby West go off at turn 2, that's going to be a lot of spots for him and a huge amount of time that he's going to give up. He's going to fall back in the line. He's going to be back there around. Big checkup from Adam Bradshaw. And that's going to put Adam Bradshaw up one spot, but it's going to put him right on the bumper of Bobby West as well. So Bobby West falling back all the way to 6th place after that little excursion there at turn 2.
Well, that was not good news for Jörg Manny. Now, he's been fighting with Adam Bradshaw. I believe he actually had the lead in the Masters for a little bit of time there, but with that little incident with Bobby West, it was exactly what Bradshaw needed. And now, Jörg Manny under pressure from Sergio Dorelli, who is actually up 15 spots right now. I'd say he's the hardest charger, but I'd be lying. That would be, as you expect, Andrea Fabini. But let's give a little bit of a quick shout-out to this man as well, Kurt Nunez. He did a hard charger in the FVs on Saturday and currently up 20 positions right now as we turn there to the action. Jürg Manny under pressure. You can see Bradshaw applying pressure to Evandro Dantas, who actually, I believe they got a bit of damage on the right front corner, Randall.
Yeah, it does look like there's some damage there. It doesn't look like there's any suspension damage, so it's only going to really affect him on this front straightaway. Shouldn't have too much effect otherwise. He's going to have the outside line here. We'll see if it continues to be good and provide the good run off the corner. But yes, he's going to be able to easily clear over there in front of Bradshaw by the time they get to turn 3. Still going to go defensive. Didn't want to quite pull over directly in front because that would have been very close indeed. But Bradshaw has the pressure dialed up to 11 here on Dantas. We'll see if he's able to withstand that pressure or not, or if he gives up the spot to Bradshaw.
I gotta be honest, at this point he's absolutely fighting with the spiritual god of netcode right now. If Stevie Ray was in here calling it, I believe this shotgun would have been fired. Look at that send as well. That's got to be lap traffic. The sheer
That is
pace.
Sancinelli, yes.
Yeah,
that is Sancinelli trying to get out of the way of this battle. He's very loath to give up the speed because he's not really a lap down. He just came in so early, but he doesn't want to get involved in this battle. I've raced with Edgar a lot. I know exactly the kind of driver he is. He doesn't want to interfere with other people's races while retaining his own pace as much as possible. Did a pretty big contact. It looked like Dantas was looking to come into the pit lane and checked up in front of Bradshaw. Bradshaw not expecting it. Clobbers into the back end of him. That's going to ruin both of their races. Jürg Manny going to inherit the Masters Division lead, and huge implications here on the front straightaway.
Let's have a quick look at that replay and see exactly what happened. That looked like he braked. That was interesting. I want to see that again, Randall.
Yeah, he was definitely braking to go into the pit lane, and it just caught Bradshaw out. You have to really be aware that the pit window's open.
He faked it. Well, watch that again.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a fake more than just he hit the brake so hard that it caused the rear end to break loose a little bit. I don't know. That's a tough call. But definitely checked up big there in front of Bradshaw. And even if it was a fake out, as if you're sitting in Bradshaw's seat, you really have to be considering that the pit window is open and that somebody, especially running that far wide on the exit of turn 12, could be looking to make a pit. But I think this is a pit entry error and or pit strategy error out of Bradshaw. I'd like to get a word with Dantas to see what was really going on there, but you're right, he might have been faking that entry, but you don't normally stamp the brake that hard if you're faking it.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I mean, he may have just locked up under braking. The car may have pitched left, and that was it. He's kind of holding on. He's missed the entry, but certainly I think we can say that the pit entry, as Ron is saying, does indeed strike. Again, as you see there, Simon Mayer, he's got Bobby West right behind him, so he's going to be, fair to say, under a lot of pressure. Now, an interesting side note as well. So I was asking Jason Green the other day about what is Sisu, and anyway, it turns out it's an endurance team that himself, Simon Mayer, and another couple of people used to run in. So himself and Jason Green, former teammates. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure that everything is above board, but it does add a little bit of extra food for thought when Bobby West is trying to make his way past one of his former teammates. Don't get me wrong, you know, at this point, he's back in 5th place. They say he's about 3-4 seconds back right now. He's going to have to pull out all the stops if he wants to try and take that lead away from Jason Green. But don't get me wrong, Jason Green has work cut out for him as well. He's got a Les Plaver hot on his heels as Jürg Manny is still fighting there with Sergio Dorelli.
A car off the track there on the approach to turn 12. Not exactly sure who that was. It may have been some lap traffic that's going to be playing into that situation as they all stream past. But right now, Jürg Manny going to be trying to hold off Sergio Dorelli here. Doesn't look to be going to defensive yet. Dorelli not looking to the inside. I don't think any driver really wants to take the inside move here, except for Les Plaver. He's really the only one we've seen it to be able to get it to stick reliably, and he's managed to make it stick enough to get him up to P2. Everybody else, it seems like the outside line is the preferable line through turn 2, so everybody seems loath to defend or to make that inside move work.
Well, it is a very challenging circuit. It's certainly not one that I've driven very much, but I gotta say, I'm kind of warming up to it at this point. As you see, Joshua Wilkie, he's managed to make his way up all the way into 8th place. He's currently up 8 positions from the race start and leading the S1. His next biggest threat is going to be back here in P11. It's Andrew Love, who's also up 10 positions. But right now, Sergio Dorelli having an absolutely fantastic time, up 17 spots. But I gotta say, Andrea Favini he may have a little bit of competition. He's up 24 with Kurt Nunes up 23 spots, but kind of running in a world of his own at this point. So as we have a look, let's go back to Trenton Kramer, because he's leading the pack between himself, Simon Mayer, and Bobby West.
Before previously talking about Simon Mayer on that last little segment, we'd only mentioned him in passing a couple times. He's had a pretty quiet race, but he's kept the nose clean and been able to make his way up into the top 5, and now looking very racy as he's in front of Bobby West, trying to keep the pressure there on Trenton Kramer, hopefully trying to force a mistake out of Kramer. One not coming yet, but it seems like he's got the pace to stick with some of these faster drivers, not necessarily looking the most aggressive out of these drivers, but has been sitting there quietly gathering up freebies as other drivers have made mistakes. So Simon Mayer playing the long game here today at Oran Park. We are well past the 25-minute mark, expecting to see a lot of traffic on pit lane soon. So expect to see possibly even more incidents there on the front straightaway at the pit entry, and possibly in turn 1 as cars are coming out of the pit exit.
Yeah, it definitely is not the most forgiving of pit lanes. It's kind of like trying to play chicken on the highway at this point. But look at all the track. And I gotta say, one of the biggest things I have noticed about this track, Randall, is the sheer amount of body roll that we're seeing in these cars. And I mean, it's not like you're driving a Cadillac or something, and here we go, is this going to be it? No, these guys just tracking quite wide, trying to get the car as close to that wall as they can. It really is a game of roulette as to whether these guys are going to make the pit stop.
And I've seen a couple times in practice drivers be a little bit greedy there out of turn 12 and understeer out into that wall, similar to the wall of champions in Montreal, affectionately known as the wall of memes here at Oran Park in iRacing, because it does generate a lot of meme incidents. As we see, Jürgen Manny going to be the first out of any of the lead pack to come into pit lane to take service here. About 30 minutes into this race, 27 minutes into this race. So starting to see some takers on pit lane. We'll start to see hopefully more of these leaders come in. Really what you want to do is time that pit entry so you don't have somebody directly in front of you when you come into the pit lane, so you have as clear a run at the pit entry as possible, and then just pray that you have a good clean pit exit and you don't have to deal with a lot of traffic.
Well, certainly we've seen the pit exit be pretty aggressive here, certainly at Oran Park, but Les Plaver is keeping them very, very honest, and that's Kevin Adrian who's up ahead of him. Now, not very often I see this guy becoming lap traffic, and, you know, certainly a bit of a hot shot in the F1600, but he's going to be wanting to make sure he is very well clear of Jason Green. Don't get me wrong, great sportsmanship here seen in the Weekend Warriors, and JG2 is going to be very, very keen, and you can see there, Les Plaver looks like he's thinking about it, potentially making a move, and these two really separate themselves away from the pack. You can see Kramer, Mayer, and West, 3-car pack behind him. Then you got Wilkie leading the next trio of cars, but currently, you know, these two in a whole world of their own, as you see they're making the move on the inside of Kevin Adrian.
We see there a look on the inside there out of Aleix Pleva. I think what he was trying to do was trying to line up an opportunistic move where he could pinch Jason Green behind the lap car. We see that at a few official series that are multi-class. Sometimes the faster class will use the slower class as a bit of a pick and then get that move done because of that pick. Right there, it looked like Pleva was possibly looking for that, as we see Andrew Love coming out of the pits, Mike Knutson coming out of the pits, but it just wasn't developing quickly enough. They weren't catching that lap traffic before turn 2, so it didn't work out. Some drivers coming on pit lane right now. Pit times looking to range from 9 3/4 seconds to about 12 seconds on average. So we'll see if any of the short fuelers are going to have trouble at the end of this race. But it looks like if you're over 9.5 seconds, you're probably good. Adam Bradshaw stopped for 9.35 seconds, so he might be having to feather it a little bit. But he spent a lot of time in traffic, so he could have been doing some fuel saving as well.
It's definitely a possibility, but one thing I did just know is Saul Ashutwi, he's absolutely sat in the pits, so something must have gone in, lack of better words, murdered him earlier, and I'm sorry to see that, but he's currently down 25 positions. Antonio Rees probably the hardest person hit today, 35 positions down, but we saw at least something at the start. I think he just didn't know, maybe didn't have his relative on, or just, you know, these things happen, we make mistakes. Certainly not the start he was looking for, but let's have a quick look here. This person's been very, very racy actually throughout the season. Sergio Girelli, one of the more aggressive drivers in the grid, and currently keeping Joshua Wilkie very honest there. Wilkie's going to be very, very aware that he's leading S2, and I do wonder, you know, would the tactical decision for him be to just let Girelli go past and reduce the odds of an accident there? As I say that, I thought there was going to be one. These guys almost contacting. I think Wilkie lifting off there saying, you know what, that's me for a game of soldiers. I'm come out of that, that is not worth the reward. Flavio Andalo looking like he's going to try and potentially make a move as well. Cutting across the grass a little bit there, so a little bit of action happening around the leader of S2.
I wonder if Flavio Andalo has been employing some fuel saving, because Wilkie before was behind Dorelli, and they were both behind Andalo there for a while. So now we've seen that order kind of reverse itself, and then Dorelli made his way back around Wilkie as we see Bobby West in the pit lane, Chang Zhang in the pit lane, Mike Knutson still showing us in the pit lane, but he's been serviced a long time ago, so he's finally rolling off the pit lane. So he's come in for a second time. I don't know if something went wrong in his pit stop, or possibly if he picked up a penalty, but he's definitely in the pit lane for a second time. We're going to see Knutson rejoin the track here at turn 1, right there behind newcomer Morgan Smith.
Well, definitely some action going on, but the big action that we all want to know is, when are these guys going to pit? We got a Les Plaver versus Jason Green, and I do wonder as well, at this point, the only chance that Bobby West really has is if these guys either take each other out or if they get caught on fuel. Now, Jason Green has led probably the majority of laps around Oran Park so far, but time is indeed running out, and are we going to see them pit this time? You can see JG, he's up, he's over to the side, and yet JG goes in the pits. Now, what's this going to mean? Look how incredibly tight that pit entrance is. What's this going to mean for Bobby West now?
Bobby West has to really be on it now to try to close that gap up and hopefully challenge Jason as he comes out of the pits. But he looks like he's going to be quite a ways back, so I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get there in time. Green might have enough of a gap established because of the incident that Bobby West had in turn 2 a little bit ago. It might have caused him to give up enough time to take him out of contention to fight just on the pit exit. Really need to keep your eyes on the lap time out of Aleix Pleva. Probably going to see him pit in reaction and try to pull off the undercut, as he'll be carrying a head of steam down the front straightaway. Or sorry, the overcut. It'll be Jason Green with a head of steam coming down the straightaways. We see Bobby West nowhere near Jason Green as he comes out of the pits, so about 3.5 seconds back. Dealing with some traffic now in the form of Jason Perry. Going to get rid of him pretty quickly in turn 2, and now going to put his visor down and try to track down Jason Green.
Well, the good thing for them is there is nothing but clean air between them, but that's not necessarily a good thing for Bobby West. It depends on how you look at it. Ideally, he could do the car between them just to try and give him a little bit of a draft. And Russell Telker saying, yeah, maybe that was a drive-through there for, the name escapes me, Mike Knutson may have had a drive-through. And he's also saying as well about how they've been running the softest anti-roll bars they can. They're running it a little bit stiffer in practice with the colder track temps, but as the track has got warmer, they've been making the car just try and flex a little bit. I imagine that probably helps with the curbing and with the body roll here. But this is going to be an interesting one. This is a Les Plaver in the pits now. He's going to be 1 lap later than Jason Green. You can see he's also right at the end of the pits as well, both him and Trenton Kramer. So what's this going to mean for JG2? Now, we know that JG's had a clean bit of tarmac there. You can see him there on the pit exit. Now, there goes Kramer. This is going to be tight. Kramer, but Les Plaver still in the pits. He is yet to leave. Oh, dear.
Yeah, Plava's an extremely long stop, so not sure what. Oh, you know what I bet has happened here? Aleix Plava likely picked up an unsafe entry or speeding on pit lane in that pit entry and is going to be serving a long 40-second penalty. So that ends Aleix Plava's race. That's going to give Jason Green the effective race lead, and Trenton Kramer back into striking distance of Jason Green. Right now, Simon Mayer leading the way on track over Flavio Andalo. Those two still need to come into the pits. Speaking of, there goes Simon Mayer into the pit lane, very much tiptoes his way through that pit entry. Likely not a penalty out of him, and Flavio Andalo going to follow, giving the lead of the race back to Jason Green. We see him coming now through the last bit of the track, turns 10 and 11, and then only turn 12 to go in the big run down the straightaway. Easily going to have the race lead back in his hands here, and he's got about a 3.25 second gap back to Trenton Kramer. So pit strategies really stretch these drivers out. Bobby West, though, right there on the back bumper of Trenton Kramer. So with his foot on the bottom step of that podium, looking to maybe get up to second. They want to try to close up to Jason Green, but they're running out of time. Less than 5 minutes left in this race. That's a pretty big gap to close.
Well, you can see that, speaking of a gap, Simon Mayer, he's just a little bit behind that battle there for second and third place. And realistically, if he can clear Jason very quickly, which Jason Perry very kindly obliges, you know, I don't think he's going to be able to catch up. He's got about a 1.82 second gap. If we take a look at it from on board, yeah, these guys are up the road a little bit. But another thought to factor in there, Randall, is, you know, what's this going to mean in the points? We know Jason Green had the lead going in. Realistically, I believe if he finishes above Bobby West, that's it, slam dunked, that's the end of it. When Jim Brewster would be the absolute man to be speaking to when it comes to the points. He is the pinnacle of the numerical succession. But you got to say here, I do wonder with the drop weeks and stuff like that involved, is Trenton Kramer being between Jason Green and Bobby West, is that going to have an impact on the championship? I'm not sure, but certainly if I was JG2, I'd be very, very glad that the obstacle of Trenton Kramer in that number 20 machine is between himself and his biggest competitor.
Really, it would only have anything to do with it if the order was reversed and Bobby West was in front of Trenton West and Jason Green was behind. But since Green has the lead over Bobby West, it's kind of a moot point right now to see Bobby West getting the move done into turn 1. So before they even get to turn 2, Bobby West gets the move done. Then I have the inside there. We see some smoke ahead, maybe some lap traffic ahead. Was that Knutson ahead of them, possibly having some issues there with turn 2. Flavio and Dallo there having some issues. Is that Jörg Mania there on the outside?
No, that's not Jörg. I'm not sure who it was, but it wasn't Jörg.
in the middle of all this, Chang Zong and Joshua Wilkie involved in a very heated battle. Chang Zong getting a little bit squirrely there, coming off turn 3, going to give up some time. Wilkie going to have a little bit of breathing room now. Wilkie's going to try to close down Sergio Dorelli. Wilkie having a pretty good race. He didn't qualify all that well, has made his way up 8 spots down to 8th position. So having a good race out of Josh Wilkie, Mr. Sandbagger extraordinaire himself. He's going to have to change the paint of that. He's going to change the paint of that car from green to red because he's not going to be in Spec 2 next season.
Oh yeah, I think it's been universally agreed that Wilkie has been very, very potent in the field of Weekend Warriors. But what has happened right now, you got himself, Cheng Zhong, and Daniel Wood. These guys are going to have a three-way fight. But I'm also looking further up the field. It looks like Jörg Manny's getting into it this time with Flavio and Darlo. So currently, Jörg Manny leading the Masters, the race part.
The Masters division, yes. Bobby West has closed the gap down to Jason Green by a little bit, but they're going to be taking the white flag next time by. So he's going to run out of time, but that gap was about 3.25 seconds. It's come down to 2.5 seconds. So Bobby West finding the speed here in the closing stages, but it's too little too late. Jason Green has a massive gap and has a buffer car in the form of Michelle Viglini. We see Chang Zong sticking it to Josh Wilkie once again, not able to get the move done, but still showing that nose the inside, keeping that pressure on. That 777 really needs to come up all sevens here to keep Chang Zong behind him.
Oh, I gotta admit, Randall, that was absolutely fantastic. If you're gonna make a highlight reel, make sure that goes in it, because that was, you're the man. You are the man.
Leader coming to take the white flag right now. So Jason Green going to see the white flag displayed, and hopefully Bobby West is hoping that he makes a mistake in the last lap of this race, and not very likely, but the lap car between them is now gone, so he can see Jason Green ahead, but he's just going to run out of time to see Trenton Kramer going to close up onto the rear bumper there and squeeze right up to the back of him, trying to get that second spot back away from Bobby West. I think any thoughts of catching Jason Green have gone out the window. Trenton Kramer wants that spot back.
Oh, he definitely does, but we're going to head back here because these guys are still going at it. I think Cheng Zong has managed to sneak his way past, and Daniel Wood is looking for a piece of the action. Wilkie doing everything he can to hold on, but don't get me wrong, his bell. Oh my gosh, what happened with Jörg Manny?
Jörg Manny suddenly drops like an anvil, as Ron Mons would put it. We have our first anvil of the race. Jörg Manny doesn't quite make it on the last lap, is not able to finish as we join the leader of the race. It's coming now, approaching turns 10 and 11. One more corner to go after this. Jason Green didn't lead until about a quarter of the way through the race, and he hasn't looked back since. Jason Green put a lot of practice in and is paying off as he comes out of turn 12, down the line, down across the line, weaving across the straightaway, celebrating his victory. Bobby West going to come home second. Trenton Kramer in third. Simon Mayer comes out with fourth.
Here we go.
Joshua Wilkie going to hold on again here against Wood and not give up that spot. Andrea Favini finishes 26 spots up from where he started. Chris Murakami going to come home with the Masters Division victory despite being involved in that lap 1 incident. comes home 2 spots down, but in first in the Masters division. So we see all 3 division winners have crossed the line. Jason Green, Joshua Wilkie, and Chris Murakami. What a race.
I just found out what happened to Jörg Manny. He's just put in the chat, USB disconnection. Oh man, Jörg, that sucks. that's I feel so bad for him. Oh,
so in sim racing, we don't have to deal with things like mechanical failures in the engine and tires suddenly going flat and things like that. We have our own form of hardware malfunctions, and unfortunately, Jörg Manny experiencing one of those at probably the worst time possible with less than 1 lap to go.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's unfortunate. I would rather it failed there than at the race start, for example. Certainly, I think it's not Daniel Wood I'm thinking of. It might be Daniel Wood, but certainly I've seen one of the drivers have a little bit of misfortune with hardware issues. We saw it in the F1600 race, but this is going to be interesting because we know what Jason Wood is particularly talented for when it comes to bonus fee. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
The line of Spec Racer forward-shaped lawn darts going off the jump just before turn 3. The entire field is making their way through the jump right now, and it just looks like an 8-year-old's Hot Wheel collection there at turn 7, just scattered around the track as damaged as more cars join into the melee. This is exactly how we want to see the season end, with a bit of fun. All feelings go out the window. Let's just have a good time here and celebrate an incredible season here. And the Weekend Warriors is more join the party here at the very end. Jason Green, and I wasn't sure who that other car was, but Jason Green had a nice, good hop there at the end.
Well, Weekend Warriors, yet again, you have succeeded to kill the camera squad. So we'd like to, just bow our heads a moment and thank the brave cameramen and women who were involved.
I think what happened there is that the production truck went over the jump, and we lost the feed to all of our cameras.
Yeah, it's pooch at this point. Let's be real. It is very broken. So just give us a sec. We're going to try and get those back for you. Meantime, let's cue up some music and get ready for some interviews as well.
Absolutely. We'll run through the final classification. Jason Green, your winner of this race. Bobby West going to finish in second despite all of his hard-fought battles with Jason Green for that lead. Trenton Kramer going to come home third place despite starting on pole. Simon Mayer with a very quiet race ekes out 3 spots and finishes in 4th place. Fabio Andallo comes home up 12 spots in 5th place. 6th place, Sergio Dorelli, who had another pretty quiet race, but was able to make up 18 spots. Cheng Zhang finishes ahead of Joshua Wilkie in 7th place, up 6 spots. Joshua Wilkie up 8 spots from where he started after a bad qualifying. Going to come home with the Spec 2 win and the Spec 2 championship. In 8th position, Daniel Wood going to finish 9th. Andrea Favini finishes 26 spots from where he started in P10. 11th, Andrew Love up 10 spots, so another good race out of Andrew Love. Chris Murakami with your Masters division win comes home P12 overall. Adam Bradshaw, who led very early on in this race, ends up finishing in 13th. Philip Berry up 11 spots, finishing 14th. 15th place is going to see Kurt Nunez, who also started at the back, was able to get 22 spots. So a good race out of Kurt. Milo Green, who we didn't talk about all day, finishes 6 spots up from where he started in the 16th place. Aleix Pleva, who got a pit entry penalty, down to 15 spots after challenging for the lead of this race. Going to come home in 17th. And then 18th will be Kevin Adrian.
I'm just noticing something's happening between. I'm looking at my timing screen and I'm looking at my results. Kurt Nunez is actually missing. So bear with us on that. I'm not sure what's happening there. Maybe a disconnection or something. I'm literally it's the same software doing both of it.
Yeah, it looks like possibly a penalty. As I look out on my other timing screen, I'm seeing Kurt Nunez actually showing as 21st position. So that's going to promote Michael Nelson up to 18th. So many of those drivers up 1 position. 18th place is actually going to be a Michael Nelson.
Interesting. Well spotted, though, as Paul Jackson takes 19th, Joseph Tarantino takes 20th, and there we go. Kurt Nunes, he has reappeared in 21st with Edgar Santinelli in 22nd. Jörg Manny, I don't know, we have a Thompson trophy for, lack of fuel. We're going to have to think of something for lack of equipment on this basis. So, Weekend Warriors, I could name that.
I have an idea.
Randall.
I have an idea.
Go ahead.
We're gonna call it the USB trophy because you often say "you son of a B" whenever it happens. So the USB trophy gonna go to Jörg Manny.
Yep. No, that is very, very. You're really on it today, Randall. What can I say? There's a reason he's SMB staff, ladies and gentlemen. Jörg Manny takes 23rd with the USB trophy. Jason Perry in 24th with a newcomer to the series today, Matthias Marcamini. There we go. Randall did get a bit of a giggle when I mispronounced that earlier. He's there in 25th with Brad Cathcart in 26th. Morgan Smith with WBM Racing, he's there in 27th. Yan Cheek, not the race he was looking for, get caught up by that incident at the race start. He's there in 28th with Mike Newton in 29th and Michelle Viglini in 30th.
31st is going to see Jason Greider, then Evandro Dantis behind him in a 32nd spot. 33rd, Leith Fox. Sorry, that's not the name at all. My two timing screens are in conflict over the name of the driver in the 33rd spot. That's Aaron Vogel. 34th, Sul Ashtui. And 35th, Hayden Brambley, who did not have a very good qualifying. I think was caught up in that lap one incident, possibly finishes 22 laps down. Russell Telker gonna come home in 36th. Stevie Ray, we saw him with a bit of an issue, coming home 37th. Paulo Brame 38th. Antonio Reese 39th. And Joaquin Effinger, I don't think actually took to the grid. So Joaquin, if he did, he was involved in that lap one incident with Antonio Reese, both of them finishing 32 laps down.
Well, what can I say, Randall? It was definitely a very, very fun race. I gotta be honest, Oran Park, not one of my favorite tracks to drive, but to commentate, absolutely fantastic. But I guess we really, really should start talking to some people here. And I gotta say, it's got to be Jason Green. So why don't you have a chat with, ladies and gentlemen, the man, the legend, coach extraordinaire, race winner today, Mr. Jason Green.
Jason, what an absolute great race out of you. We saw you fighting for that lead through the first quarter of the race. Wasn't able to get there until about a quarter of the way through the race. And once you got there, never looked back. Tell us what it was like out there for you today.
Oh my God, it was crazy at the start, y'all. I thought if I could get in front of either Adam or Bobby, then I might be able to break away. I knew that Alish had pace over me, so I kind of wanted a car in between me and him, and then try to build a gap. Finally managed to do that, and then Alish chased me down super quick, and I thought he was going to have the edge over me in the pit stop, because when I pitted, I literally could not go another lap, and he was able to go another one. So super unlucky for him in the pit stop to get a speeding penalty, but yeah, that was a lot of hard work.
So I watched you in practice fighting with Trenton Kramer, practicing some side-by-side racing for a couple laps. How spooky was that start on cold tires, knowing that you're going to be going into turn two too wide?
I mean, on this car, cold tires is when you have the most grip. So the first lap I wasn't too concerned. It was later because the track temp was double what it was in practice. So the track was literally ice. There was it turns 1 and 3, the two overtaking zones were there was zero grip, even on the racing line. So it was super difficult, super treacherous. And when I finally got past Adam, I think we both locked up. I had to go down to first gear to keep it on the track. So yeah, it was very, very difficult out there.
So it looked like it was very difficult to set up passes today. Did you have to be more aggressive than normal to make some of those moves stick?
Oh, 100%, yeah. Because you have to nail the last corner. If you don't nail the last corner, then you're not going to overtake anybody. And then even when you do, you're just going to get barely alongside. So you have to send it into turns 1 and 2. So yeah, and then there's also the option to turn 3, but that's a mega send if you want to pull that one off. And there was no grip into that corner today. So yeah, it's always super difficult to pass around here. So you just have to send it when you have a small little chance.
So very Senna-esque kind of attitude you have to carry into Oran Park in a car like this. Your win today cements your second place finish in the points. So a good season out of you. Should we expect to see you fighting for the championship next season?
I'll do my best. I still have a ways to go to match the great Marco Pinero. Unfortunately, he's still got a little bit of an edge. So I'll do my best. Yeah, I very, very thankful I was able to get a win this season. Didn't think that was going to happen. So yeah,
Neither
super
did we,
hyped.
Jason.
And then congrats to Bobby as well. Yeah, he had a tremendous season, both in the official series and in this in the Weekend Warriors. And I know he was trying extremely hard to beat me. So it was came down to the last race in both series. So well done, Bobby. Absolutely killed it this season.
So before we let you go celebrate, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, first shout out to y'all. Y'all did an amazing job this season. Shout out to Stevie, of course, for putting on this league. We had 40 cars on the grid today. It's absolutely epic. Love to see it. So, and thanks to all those 40 cars that are on the grid with us. If like Stevie says, if nobody showed up, no, it wouldn't happen. So, thanks to everybody that showed up, and thanks for an amazing season.
That was your race winner and season-long P2 finisher in the Spec 1, Jason Green. Hopefully we'll see him back challenging for that championship next season. And Zippy, who did you find?
Well, I'm going to have to catch up with, I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's get Wilkie next, because that way we can get we'll go through the race leaders and then we'll start picking up the extras, as it were. Not that they're extra, but it's just more, I want to make sure we get the race leaders caught up. We're going to have Josh Wilkie first and then Chris Murakami. But Wilkie, I got to say, obviously, congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
At this point, you don't really need a key to get in the booth. You can waltz on in, but it's great when a driver does it on sheer talent. And I certainly, I do roast Mike Broomhead for that elsewhere, and certainly I know I've roasted Adam for that before. But I got to say, congratulations, and certainly a tough race. Tell us a little bit about how the track was. Certainly, Jason was saying it was a bit slippery, but one of the big things I did notice from the commentary booth was the amount of body roll. And Russ was saying about about how they set the softer anti-roll bars. Tell us, is that something that you kind of got involved with? Tell us a little bit about your preparation for this event.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, you're right. Actually, you definitely do need a bit of a looser setup, I think, for around here. I didn't really pay too much attention to the setup. I kind of just got it from someone and used it, and it felt good for me. But the track itself is it's a pretty physical track, and it was a little bit slippery out there today. It's narrow, it's fast. Really hard just to keep it together with everybody out there, and everybody was driving really clean. Something happened in the beginning there, I think, was probably the biggest mess that I saw. But other than that, yeah, it was just kind of keeping it together. I think that this car kind of suits this track, actually, and I actually had a lot of fun out there today, especially battling with Zong at the end and Sergio Dorelli. That was just a blast today. So I love tracks like this that are hustly and fast, and yeah, it was just a blast. I think this car is really good around here, so I had a good time.
Oh, definitely. It did certainly look like you had a good time, and you'll get to see some of the action when you watch back the broadcast. And by all means, I'm sure you will have some, maybe a little bit of guidance for me on trying to match your production levels there. But Josh, before we let you go, anybody you want to thank? And then we, I guess, I can't ask you about what you think about next week, but certainly the UK tour. Now, this has been a little bit of banter within the SMB. I'm going to say ballroom, but we're not that classy, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be real. I can't sell that one. But certainly a little bit of friendly competition, because both myself and Wilkie work in the production controls, and it's almost like a little bit of rivalry, because I'm trying to stick Wilkie in the booth so I can go out and drive it. I mean, he's already, won 2 S2 championships. Now, ladies and gentlemen, can we put it to a vote? But tell us a little bit about how you feel about the UK tour that's coming up next week.
Yeah, I'm always looking forward to those every year. It's kind of a good way to end the season off, and you get to kind of race with some people maybe you didn't get to race with in the FEs and stuff. And yeah, it's sort of a, who can take that one's kind of a, it's sort of a mixed bag there with all of them. So if you can do well, in all 3 of those, I think it kind of proves how good you are in all 3 of the cars and stuff too. So it's always a good one at the end of the season. I think I got my first one was last season there, the first time I've ever participated. I didn't do so well, so definitely looking to do a little bit better this time around. But yeah, looking forward to it, man. And yeah, as far as thanking people, you guys obviously in the booth and everybody that puts these things on and the drivers, it won't take too much more time. But really happy to get the S1 win in SRF, and S2 win, and looking forward to moving on to S1. And yeah, just thanks to everybody.
S1 win, and that's coming next year, Josh.
We'll see about that. Yeah, it's a little more tough than the S1 there, but we shall see how it goes. I'm just happy I found a bunch of pace. That's so much help from everybody around. I feel like I'm part of the group, and I can actually race with these people and stuff now. All these drivers out here, so really happy about it, man.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not surprised. I've got to run with these guys a couple of times, even before I came to SMB, and it was always a good drive. But again, thank you very much, and congratulations there, Joshua Wilkie, your S2 division winner for today, and also, I believe, has won the S2 championship. Well done.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Randall. Thanks, Zippy.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Joshua Wilkie. The name escaped me for a second there, but I do believe, Randall, you've been able to catch up with the Masters winner for today, Chris Murakami.
Hi guys.
You had a little bit of damage on the car there at the end of the race, but you managed to come home with the Masters division win. Tell us what it was like out there for you today.
Well, on the first lap going down the stretch, I saw Antonio losing it, so I kind of went to the left, not realizing there was someone right there, and ended up causing an accident. I feel sorry for I think it was Chong, or anyways, a couple guys. I ended up taking them to the grass. Felt bad.
So aside from the lap 1 scrum, which you kind of have to expect at a track like this, maybe earlier than you would normally expect it, what was the race like out there? How did you find the conditions?
Oh, after that, I was just going hard. Yeah, just I collected a number of penalties, so I was all alone, which was great. So just went as hard as I could, really.
So it seemed very much like a race of attrition today. Despite your incident there on the first lap, you're able to come home with the victory. Are you counting your lucky stars, or what's going on there with that?
Well, I didn't even know, and then I looked at the results, and I was like, what? No one's ahead of me? What? So yeah, it surprised me.
Well, they do say that surprise victories are often the best kind. And before we let you go celebrate, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Oh, I think I want to say thanks to Ray and all the guys. It's a great group, and really enjoy it. And thank you guys for broadcasting. That's you guys are awesome.
Well, congratulations on the surprise victory today, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you up here a little bit more next season.
Yeah, I should be consistent next season, which would be great.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Congratulations again, and have a good rest of your weekend.
All right, you too. Thanks.
That was Chris Murakami, your Masters Division surprise winner. And that wraps up the interviews of the winners. Zippy, is there somebody else you found that you wanted to talk to?
Yeah, I think we're going to do it a little bit different. We're going to do a little bit of buy one and get one free. So we're going to bring in Bobby West and Trenton Kramer, and we're going to have a little bit of fun with that. Certainly, you guys were having a wicked battle. Trenton there with the pole. Both of you guys coming unstuck a little bit. Bobby, tell us a little bit about what was going through your mind in the sheer determination to catch up with your biggest rival, Mr. Jason Green.
Where was the grip? That's one of the things that was going through my mind. There was just no grip. Turn 1 was a disaster. Like all race, every lap in the opening bit was just an exploration.
Well, definitely, it was a very, very demanding scenario. But Trenton, I gotta say, not to say that you're a slow driver or anything, but setting the pole here today, is Oran Park, is this one of your favorites? I know you've just been, sandbagging it a little bit here, and then all of a sudden decided to show your true colors. Tell us a little bit about how that happened.
I'm not necessarily one to run with the front runners on every track. There are a few select tracks like Oran Park that it just really clicks with me as a driver. I was fortunate enough to get a draft right at the beginning of qualifying, and I believe it jumped like 6 degrees Celsius in temperature by the end of qualifying. So it really helped to get out there on the cold track versus when it got hotter.
Well, I can definitely see that having an impact. But certainly, you guys had a fantastic battle towards the end. Certainly very friendly as well. Now, it's one of those things, like, obviously you want to race and stuff like that. Bobby, you must have been very, very nervous, I imagine, having that battle with Trenton there. Don't get me wrong, he's a great racer, but, your sights set on the championship. Trenton not quite managed to make it to all of the events this season, for which we will forgive you and suggest that you make more next year. But, Bobby, tell us a little bit about what was going through your head when you was having that battle.
Oh no, I have no hesitation racing with Trenton. I have full confidence in what he's able to do. But he started sliding in the middle of the race, and I was thinking, "Oh, come on, Trenton, get it together. You're better than this." But I was thinking, like, you're sliding, we're losing the front two. But I was trying to save fuel behind behind them through the middle bit, thinking maybe I'll leap them and then be a bit closer to Jason. And then Jason came out the pits the same distance ahead, and I was like, didn't save anything. So yeah, I thought it was a bit optimistic then. And then came out right behind Trenton again, so I was like, I've got to get past you as soon as I can.
Well, certainly Trenton was the thorn in your side a little bit in that race, and certainly, you know, I wonder if Jason Green had him on the payroll potentially, but I don't think it would have been enough to affect the points.
I did wonder.
I saw you get stuck behind Simon Mayer a little bit earlier, and I'm thinking, I wonder. But, you know, JG, he's pretty...
They got suspiciously similar liveries as well, haven't they?
I've not seen him run a Sisu Motorsport one for a little bit, but I got to say, Trenton, you know, Bobby West there giving you a compliment saying he'd be happy to run alongside you. Now, I don't know if that's the same with every driver. Certainly, I can think of a Formula V race quite recently, actually, where you was actually a little bit more nervous. Can you tell us about that while you're here?
Well...
Go for it.
It wasn't ideal. Obviously, it's all good fun. We're here. Nobody's winning the million for any of these races, so we try and keep it respectful. Bobby and I have had a good couple of battles, but not nearly as many as we should. Either I make a big mistake, or Bobby gets involved in something that's probably not his fault. He typically is the one that's not at fault in those instances. But the Formula V, Formula Ford, pretty much all of them, I don't get the opportunity to practice like a lot of the people do. So I kind of just show up and have fun. I think I showed up for the Formula Ford race with like 8 minutes left in qualifying with no practice, nothing. And that went pretty well. So, I mean, we'll just keep doing that for a little while.
Well, it's certainly great to have you on the grid. But, guys, we're going to let you go. But before we do, is there anybody you'd like to thank? Bobby, we'll start with you on that one. Certainly a very great season. Jason Green actually... he was singing like a canary, the sheer praises and stuff he had for you in both the officials and in the Weekend Warriors. So, before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank for that? And I don't mean Jason Green saying nice things. I understand that the check obviously cleared for such things to happen.
Yeah, no, it's been really good. It's been really good fun, like doing this championship, like putting efforts in this time. Normally, I don't run a whole season. Recently, just life gets in the way, doesn't it? But it's been really good fun racing a whole season in officials and this league, and yeah, like all the battles I've had with Jason. Like I said last week, really, you know, it's been good. But you know, he got me on both of them. That's the annoying thing. I'm walking away now, and he's got me on both of them. But anyway, but yeah, no, that's been really good fun. I've really enjoyed this one, and you know, I just want to say thanks to all the other people on the track as well. Like, you know, it's as Stevie always says, I know he's not doing this interview, but it's like, I know he sort of sings the praises a bit of everybody, but it's true. Like, everyone in this league is what makes this worth coming back to every week. You know, it's like, there's great people, and yeah, sometimes we mess up, and you know, like we have the incident like on the start today, but it doesn't matter. Like, we're here to have fun, and we move on, and yeah, everyone is. Yeah, I've got to know a lot of people just through doing this, you know, who I've never met, and it's really good fun. I appreciate that.
Well, certainly a field trip may be planned for Bobby West, but certainly I don't know if he's going to be going anywhere too soon. Obviously, you're going to be a daddy soon, and for that, we wish you the best of luck. And some people will wish you sympathy for that. Certainly, I'm sure my parents would have wished you the biggest sympathy ever possible. But Trenton, as well, before we let you go, anybody you'd like to thank for today's performance, the season, the floor is open, sir.
Yeah, I mean, following it up, like Bobby and Stevie always say, everybody in this group makes for fantastic competition, fantastic fun. It's a good way to spend the weekend. So thank you for everybody who comes out, makes it possible for you guys putting on a great show upstairs here and looking down on the track. Doing a fantastic job from all the videos that I've gotten a chance to watch, at least. And it's even better when I get to come up here and say hi to you guys after the race. That's a lot of fun. But if you're in the market for getting into racing on over in the States, Grass Paddock Motorsports, rental race car Mini Coopers, we can get you into a car for your racing license, or get you on track for track days, or just actual race events if you've already got your license for the SCCA. Connor Racing products for my protection gear that is in my personal Mini Cooper. But other than that, just everybody else who shows up and makes this possible.
Well, I gotta say, I'm very much looking forward to that experience after the absolutely shameless plug there by Trenton Kramer. Megan Overstreet, I gotta say, she got to do it, one of the Weekend Warriors regulars, and actually podiumed on her first weekend there. So, great drive by Megan, and I gotta say as well, I mean, you can be the best driver in the world, but the car's got to be set up for you as well. And Trenton being the guy who does do that, absolutely fantastic job. But guys, we are going to let you go as we start to bring this to a close. And I'm going to sound like a bit of a canary here, not just because my grandparents supported Norwich City Football Club, which is a joke that about 95% of the people in this series won't get. Bobby West might get it. And I got a feeling Paul Jackson, maybe anybody on the English side, I think may get that joke. Certainly, I'm cooking something up here, which is another double pun. But the biggest thing, again, as these guys were saying, is, you know, it's a community, and certainly on the SMB side, I'm very grateful, very appreciative, and feel very honored actually to have the Weekend Warriors here at SMB. And it's been a pleasure, certainly, you know, not just broadcasting the shows, but getting to drive with you guys as well. Don't get me wrong, I can't compete in the shows I'm producing, but I do often come out to the extra events. Actually, Bobby West, while you're in here, you'll be able to advertise this a bit better than I am. But Jason Green involved in running Faux Speed. Actually, Bobby, can you tell us a little bit more about that, about the roots of Faux Speed, I guess?
Well, it was Dan Sadra that set it up, but it's a practice on the Sunday night, I think it is. To be honest, I'm in bed at this time, so yeah, it's an American time zone. So there's a European one on a Monday evening, but it's just to practice the week, the race, the track the following week. So it's the first opportunity to practice for that. So it's a good opportunity to learn.
Well, that is very much it. And if you're looking to do that, you know, certainly we have that here. We'll tell you a bit more about that more next season, I think. But again, it's definitely a very much a team effort. But we're going to love you and leave you. That's aimed at Trenton and Bobby in the nicest possible way. We're going to send you back to the dark depths area, the green room in slow motion broadcasting. There is liquor on tap. It's a little light, I'll be honest. By light, I mean it isn't there, but you know, we're on a tab. It's fine. Randall, actually, any closing thoughts from Mr. McGrew?
Great season, guys, and great race today. It was really exciting to watch the pair of you fight there at the end.
Yeah, thank you.
Take her away, Randall. Take her away, sir.
That's going to bring us to a close here for the Weekend Warriors at Oran Park. I think we have some new graphics to show off, Zippy. If I remember right, we got some new graphics to show off. If you want to join the Weekend Warriors Spec Racer 4 Discord, then pause the video and take a little snap of that QR code. That'll get you invited into the SRF Discord. And we also have one for the slow motion broadcasting Discord. Take a little snapshot of that with your phone camera. That'll give you a link to join the slow motion broadcasting channel. You can keep abreast of all of our upcoming broadcasts. And if you're a driver, maybe make your way into the interview booth after one of these races. We have some upcoming broadcasts. First, we have the Esports Club Racing League with Group 3, the Formula Vs and Spec Racer Fords, Sunday, December 11th at Sebring. And then Sunday, December 15th, Weekend Warriors, the UK tour is going to kick off. And that's going to be a large broadcast from us, stretching, I think it's 3.5 hours long there, Zippy?
In
is
theory,
that right?
we're thinking 2.5, potentially 3 hours. I know the last one, it was a bit bigger than we expected.
Yeah, it often is a bit bigger than we expect. So a big stream coming up there on the 15th. Wednesday, December 18th, Ray Esports Club Racing League Group 1 with the Miatas and the TCRs going to take to the confines of one of my favorite tracks, Virginia International Raceway. And then do we have some more? Yes, Zippy, tell us about Pit Road Productions.
So if you want to see some real race drivers and some sim racing drivers take part to compete in one of the biggest competitions in sim racing right now, it is at the BIS Radical Cup Canada. Drivers will be competing to drive a real Radical. Actually, last year's winners, Ozzy Mulwayne and Zach Buchanan, got to drive a Radical SR3, which I got to be honest, that would be absolutely incredible to drive that in real life. And they're going to be at Spa for the next race on Wednesday, December the 11th, 8:30 Eastern, before taking a Christmas break. But you can also see the BIS F1600 Championship. Same kind of idea, ladies and gentlemen, but with a drive in an F1600 up on the table. So if you want to check out any of that action, that's where to do it. That's going to be our sister channel, Pit Road Productions. But that just about does it for me. Randall, close us out, sir. Do the honors.
Well, I have to say, Tamara, the 11th is on a Wednesday. It must have been on the prompter wrong, and like Ron Burgundy, if it's on the prompter, I read it. But before we close out this race and this season for the Weekend Warriors, I would like to point out one last time the Weekend Warriors are racing to raise awareness for the ALS Foundation in honor of Russ Telker's father, Jeff Telker. So it is the season of giving. If you find yourself with a little bit of extra money to give up for charity, please consider the ALS Foundation. Check out their website for all details on how to donate money to them. And after another phenomenal season of the Weekend Warriors, especially the Spec Racer Fords, it's been a roller coaster this season. We've seen a lot of stuff go on track. It's been amazing being here and bringing it all for you to watch. Thank you for joining us here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. Stand by for our other broadcasts coming up over the next couple weeks. We'll be rejoining this league for another season here in a couple more weeks once iRacing changes over to 2025 season 1. But my name is Randall McGrew. I've been joined as always by Daniel, Zippy, Salmon. Thank you for an incredible season, and we'll see you again real soon.
I see a Budweiser. Go ahead and hold it up.
Yes.
That was the biggest clue.
Yes, right
Doing
there.
it for Dale.
Man, it's so many gimmicks, right? I feel like they're making it a lot more complicated than it needs to be. I mean, a lot of people, you get polarizing opinions on DRS.
I know you guys know exactly what I'm talking about here, but sometimes the effort, it's all about the boys. You know, like, hey, you know, life sucks sometimes, and you need the boys.
iRacing kind of always has a tendency to kind of buff
Yes.
the new cars just a little bit. I'm not going to go on record saying it's because they want people to spend money on their platform and buy all the new
Conspiracy
content.
confirmed.
But
Yes.
but
The field in Castro's hands, and he's going immediately. Gets a good jump there over Green, and he's pulling away. He is gapping early, even moving over to try to break up any sort of slipstream or help that inside line, making sure Green has his hands full coming into T1.
Be your chance. Did Jason give Antonio just a little bit of a slow up? It doesn't look like it. Antonio down to the inside. Hopefully going to be able to make this move. Oh, that was close.
Soto both coming very hot with a head of steam. Plava going up to try to move out of the way and give up the slipstream.
Here comes Gilliland.
Slow down. Gilliland coming in, going to try to challenge for this podium. They're going to go too wide.
Oh, no!
No! Gilliland and Plava come together. Gilliland's going to come back across the line in 4th place.
He's quite going to get there. There's a little bit of a lock up there from the
Oh, my
46
goodness.
car. He's gone deep.
Whoa. I don't know how everybody was able to get through that. That could have been absolute tears for that front runner.